Hello and welcome to Trial TV Live. I am the squeegee of justice with some thunder going on outside. We just went through a major storm, so thank you for joining us as we are continuing our coverage of California versus Carlos Dominguez. For those of you that have been following this trial for a long time, you know that they've been in verdict watch for like 2 or 3 weeks now. I quite honestly, I lost track of time. But they went through 23 days of testimony, and then we were on verdict watch for days 24, 25, 26, 27, which was June 16th, and we stopped doing verdict watch because it didn't seem like we were just not showing anything. So, but a lot happened today. Well, actually, a lot happened this week. I got a text from Newton this morning. Seeking Justice sent us some documents, which I'm going to read. So, but I just want to welcome in everybody coming in. Psychosaurus Rex, Alice Howell, how are you? Golden Girl, Therapist You Know, Widespread Panic, Golden Girl, let's see, Baka, Irish Amy, Young Black Economist, Susie, yes, no spoilers, please. Pammy, good to see you. And let's see, Hellcat, Nan R. and Tammy joining us. Mallory, good to see you again. Scott's RS Footy is here. Susie, I remembered to hit the like. Awesome, thank you. Let's see, Mallory. Arianette, see you all Monday. Sounds good, no problem. Dr. Bob is going to leave as well, no problem there. Bice, good to see you. Gloria, Gloria. Aaron Q, thank you for joining us. And Pammy, Teresa. All right, let's get straight to it, because for those that were with me earlier, I am not feeling well, so I'm fading fast. So we'll get to this. All right, so on the 23rd, here, let's come over here so we can kind of reacquaint ourselves, because it's been about 2 weeks since we've really sort of talked about Carlos. So Seeking Justice sent us these documents. So on June 23rd, which was Monday? Yeah, Monday. So June 23rd, which was Monday for us, Superior Court in the state of California, County of Yolo, to Judge Tom M. Dyer. Now that's different. This judge is McAdam. So this is a different judge. Nature of proceedings, further jury trial. Attorney for the people represents Matt Demora and Fritz Vanderhook. Defendant Carlos Reales Dominguez. And attorney for defendant is Daniel Hutchinson. 9:30. So these are the minutes, formal minutes. So at 9:30 a.m., outside of court's proceedings, the bailiff informed the court that all jurors are present for further deliberations. 9:37, both counsel and defendant are present in open court outside the presence of the jurors. This was not streamed, right? Nobody saw this. So that's why I'm reading it to you. Sidebar was held at the request of the court. 9:43, both counsel and defendant are present in open court outside the presence of the jurors. Discussion is held regarding the readback requested by the jury, and parties agree that the full testimony of witnesses requested will be read. The court notes that readback may not be ready until Thursday. So they were off Tuesday and Wednesday because they were preparing a readback. We don't know what the readback was for, but they were in on Monday. Jurors requested a readback, and they were off Tuesday and Wednesday. They came back Thursday. 9:47 a.m., defendant, counsel, and jurors are present in open court. The court informs the jurors that Judge McAdam is ill, and he is covering for today. So this other judge, Judge Tom M. Dyer, is covering for Judge McAdam. Also, the readback requested is being worked on, but it may not be ready until Thursday. The jury is directed to continue deliberations while waiting for the readback. So this was on Monday. It was going to take them Tuesday and Wednesday to prepare this readback, and the jury was still supposed to be deliberating. So 9:49, the court is in recess. 11:04, note was received from juror number 2 and was brought to the court for review. 11:45 a.m., the court would like to conference the 11:45 a.m., the court would like to conference the note with counsel at 1:30 p.m. The clerk notifies all parties. At 11:49 a.m., the note received from the jury, the note will be addressed at 1:30 p.m. as well. The clerk notifies all parties. At 1:32, so they break for lunch basically. They come back at 1:32. Both counsel and defendant are present in open court outside the presence of the jury. Here's the deal right here. Discussion is held about notes received from the jury and the suggested email by counsel for the defendant. Counsel adds that CalCrim 640 and 220 may need to be reread to the jury. Remember, 2 or 3 weeks ago they were hung up on CalCrim 600, which is basically California criminal. And Judge McAdam was reading through all these California criminal notes, if you will. So counsel adds that CalCrim 640 and 220 may need to be reread to the jury. The court states that it can instruct the jury today and allow each counsel to give an additional 10 minutes of argument as requested. Both counsel request that the jury be ordered to return on Thursday, which was yesterday, when the readback that was requested is ready, and they can also be instructed at that time. The additional 10 minutes of argument may be done afterwards if still necessary. The court grants the request. So at 1:41, defendant, counsel, and jurors are present in open court. The court informs the jury that it is in receipt of their notes and is ordering them to return on Thursday, June 26th, which was yesterday, when the readback requested is ready, and Judge McAdam could also be present. The court reminds the jurors of the admonishments and excuses them until Thursday, June 25th at 9:30. 1:45, court is adjourned. Defendant remanded to the custody of the sheriff. Bail amount set at no amount of bail. Right? So that's why they were off, right? So they were off on Tuesday and Wednesday, and they came back yesterday. All right, so then there was another, so then 6:26, which was yesterday. Here's another minute order. Carlos was present. The state of California was present. Public defender. Defendant appears in custody. Let's see. Future court dates. Matter is set for further jury trial on Friday, June 27th at 9 a.m. Defendant is ordered to appear. So that was them officially saying, okay, you got to come back. All right. Then, all right, so check it out. Then this morning, I get a text from Newton. Today, he says, also Carlos, let's see, hold on. So he's off of the case. He works with law and crime. They took him off of the case. So he said, my people actually sent me home. They can't wait any longer. They spent a lot. If anything, they'll try to capture now, court cam now, blah, blah, blah. So that was back on June 17th. So law and crime, they sent him home, right? So then he goes and does his thing. So he says, Carlos is tomorrow or Friday when you get this. Apparently there might not be a verdict and that rather a deadlock. Talk of a retrial. We'll see. All right. So that's what Newton sent me this morning. So that's what I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? So we were able to capture this. As far as I know, we're the only ones that have this. The other channel did not have this. So let's check this out together. So this is what happened today. Are you guys ready? Here we go. All right, so this was today.
Remain seated and come to order. Superior Court 14 is now in session.
Okay, let's go on the record in case CR 23-1391, the people of the state of California versus Carlos Reales Dominguez. Prosecutor DeMora, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And Defense Attorney Hutchinson, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor.
With Mr. Carlos Reales Dominguez present. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're set today for a jury trial. I received a note from the jury, and I'm hopeful that both sides received that note. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to meet with lawyers before calling the jury in, and it was it's my intent then to voir dire the foreperson as to whether they have exhausted all efforts and so forth. By receiving the note the way we did, I believe that's probably going to be an affirmative. I would ask the split, not the substance of the split, but what numbers are. It would seem to me they're hung on the second-degree murder, and in working through CalCrim 640, it sounds like they've have a verdict on first degree, and we're unable to reach a second degree. Is that how you read it?
That's my understanding, yes.
Right?
I mean, that's the interpretation, but
Yeah. We don't know until we get them here, right? So I want to take a look at the verdict forms, see if they filled them out. I want to voir dire them regarding the split and regarding whether anything in addition would help. I know and I appreciate the work that the lawyers have done with Judge Dyer while I was gone. I know you talked about perhaps a mini closing on this issue of second degree. And anyway, I'm willing to discuss that further. My instincts tell me that if the split is 6-6 or something other than 10-2, 11-1, that I think we're pretty much done at that point. The reason for that is, I mean, they've been at it about 9 days. They've asked for read back from numerous witnesses, including the doctors, the defendant, I think some percipient witnesses. Their deliberations have spread across 3 weeks, if I have the math right. So they've worked very hard on this, and it would appear to me that they're done, but we do need to voir dire them. So with that, Mr. Mora, I'm open to comments the prosecution may have on how to guide the court.
I think the court strategy is correct. I would agree in voir diring them on the issue. And if it's something where there is indications that they could continue to deliberate, then maybe the court advise them of CalCrim 3551 and send them back. So that's a potential option as well.
Is that in effect what Judge Dyer did already, though? I mean, I haven't read the transcript, but it sounded to me like he reminded them of their duty to try to work to get a verdict, each person independent and so forth. And so it seems to me that he did that. And of course, I failed to mention that he had re-instructed on 640-220 as well, on a special instruction drafted by counsel, I think. And so, right. Okay. Mr. Hutchinson, comments on that?
no, Your Honor, he did not read that instruction, but he did give additional comments. Unless the jury indicates they believe it's likely to reach a verdict, I don't believe that instruction would have any impact. They've deliberated for 9 full days.
Yeah. It's a poorly worded instruction, and it's not even favored by the Judicial Council. So I think he touched on some of the elements that are there. But all right. So what's your any comment? Does anyone have any interest? If there's, would you like me to ask? Well, how do you feel about polling the jury across the board on a variety of issues? I mean, I can poll them on, if there's a verdict on first degree, I can poll them on that. I can poll them on whether they believe any additional deliberation would merit on the second degree or not. So I can go one by one if you think that would be helpful. Any comments on that, Mr. DeMora?
I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, if the court wishes to begin with the foreperson and then ask, because I know there may be some disagreement among the jurors, so that I would have no objection to that.
Right.
I'd be fine with Mr. Hutchinson's proposal as well.
Okay. And then I'm looking for something positive. I mean, if I have a couple straight people that think that yeah, we can go back in and muscle through something, that's not as interesting to me as something that's more shows that the balance of the 12 people want to keep working on something. All right, so let's do this. You've given me some ideas. I'm going to implement those, what we've just talked about, when we bring the jury in, and then if I feel the need to conference, then I'll direct so. Okay. If you want a conference, then you speak up. and I'm going to allow it. So if you request it, you can come on up and we can conference. But I'll let you know what I think. I am inclined to believe that the jury is probably done with their work, but I want to probe and see where we can go. Okay.
You know, I have one suggestion.
Yeah.
If there is a mistrial, if the court could advise the juries that those who wish to speak with the attorneys can remain in the jury room. That way it's not a matter of being in the hallway. And I imagine some may not wish to speak at all, but that would be my request. Because we would like to speak to the jurors.
Right. So if I declare a mistrial, then at that point I will ask the split, not just the numbers, but which side. And if I'm right, if we're reading the note right, if there's a not guilty on first-degree murder and a hung jury on second-degree murder, there's no verdict form. All the verdict forms are empty, I should say, except for one as to David Breaux and one as to Karim, right? On the first degree, and then everything else is empty.
If we're interpreting it correctly, yes, I would agree.
Right.
Agreed.
Right. Okay, and then so back to your point, holding them in the deliberation room. Not sure how you would have, as a lawyer, you don't have access to that. So
In a prior high-profile trial with Mr. Mora,
Sure.
that is what, it was to avoid them. Some jurors may not wish to speak. They may wish to just gather their things and leave, and they don't wish to be confronted in the hallway. So I just wanted to give them the option. If they wish to speak, they can remain. If they don't, they are free to leave.
yeah, well, I'm going to give them that.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm not comfortable, corralling, even if they want to, corralling them into the deliberation.
Then I'll withdraw that request.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to encourage you, and so then, and I'm going to encourage them to talk with you. Okay, so hopefully some of them will. Yeah, I'm definitely going to encourage that.
Now, if I could, Your Honor, on Mr. Hutchinson's request, if they would prefer to speak in a private area, would the court then make the jury deliberation room available?
Yeah,
to parties?
I think so. Yeah, just check with the bailiff. Yeah, we want to facilitate that. Okay.
Thank you.
So then, and then, well, I want to allow you time to do that. So, do you want to just go ahead and just have a date picked, or do you want me to recall the case? If you declare mistrial, I want you to be able to go out and get to work rather than wait for me to set a date for trial setting.
Assuming we're correct, and there is a mistrial, my request, we would continue to waive time. I request that we put this matter on for trial setting either July 23rd or July 24th, if that is convenient with court and counsel, so the parties can evaluate their positions.
Yeah, July 24th at 1:30 would be best for the court.
That works for the people.
Okay, so that's a tentative date. I'll write that down. 24. All right, super. Thanks. And then anything else, Mr. Moore? I appreciate your patience with the court.
Nothing from the people, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thanks. Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, folks, we'll see you in a few minutes. Off the record.
Thank you.
All rise and come to order. Superior Court Department 14 is now in session. The Honorable Samuel T. McAdams is presiding. You may be seated.
Okay, let's go on the record. In case CR 23-1391, the people of the state of California versus Carlos Dominguez. Prosecutor DeMora, Defense Attorney Hutchinson, Carlos Dominguez present, and we have 12 members of our jury present who have been working hard and deliberating, and we have our alternates with us again, 4 of you, and good morning to everyone, and thank you, of course, for your service, and it's great to have you here today. So I called everyone in because I received a jury note, and the jury note reads, we have reached a unanimous verdict on first-degree murder, and we cannot agree on the other counts. And so I want to check in with juror number 6, foreperson, am I right? Okay, great. And do you have the verdict forms? Okay, can I take a look at the verdict forms? Okay, and then with respect to the other verdict forms that are unsigned, do you have those? Okay, all right, I'm going to make a note of that. Okay, all right, so the verdict forms, counsel, are consistent with the jury note. And so I want to probe a little bit on where we're at this time. And so let me direct the foreperson and just summarize where we're at. I may have lost count of the exact number of days, but I think approximately 9 days of jury deliberation, parts of 9 days, across a period of 3 weeks, I believe it was. I believe that you had read back from all 3 doctors. You had read back from the defendant's testimony, if I remember right, and at least one or maybe other percipient witnesses. So you had the court report read back that I would consider fairly extensive. Okay. I know that you also had a few notes that came to the court and they were responded to. And if I was told that Judge Dyer met with you yesterday and gave additional instructions, I think he reread Cal Crim 640, 220, and he offered a special instruction in addition to other comments that he made. So I know that we've gone through that extensive process. I mean, that is, extensive is the right word. It's a very diligent, hard work that this jury has done. So I'm mindful of that. The issue before the court is whether whether you are actually deadlocked or not. Okay, so I want to probe that, and let me check in with the foreperson then. So on the question of second-degree murder, okay, you were unable to reach a verdict. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. And I don't want to know what side, whether guilty or not guilty, but I do want to know the numerical split of the last vote, of how you left it. So there are 12 of you. For example, was it 6-6, 7-5, 11-1? What was your last vote on second-degree murder?
It was 10-2.
It was 10-2. Okay. And so let me ask you then, Madam Foreperson, whether you believe any effort at further deliberation could dislodge the disagreement and merit a unanimous verdict. Is there any additional deliberation that should be done here?
No.
Okay. And how long have you been at roughly a 10-2 split?
About a week.
About a week, right? Good. So that was a good question. That gives us some context. Okay, great. All right. And I take it, and it's really important, I'm not probing the substance of your discussion, just more procedure. I take it then that you've spent the last week trying to figure out how the law and the facts apply and whether that disagreement can be overcome. Okay. All right. And it's, again, I want to ask one more time, then it's your belief, Madam Foreperson, that no additional deliberations is warranted. Okay, all right. So I want to check in. I'm going to ask each of the 12 of you that simple question. And I'll start over with juror number 1. I'll use numbers as we go through it. And the simple question is, do you need more time? Would it be helpful? Do you the differences? So Madam Foreperson's spoken for the 12 people, and now I'm going to poll you individually on whether you think that deadlock can be overcome. And so juror number 1, what do you think? Okay, juror number 2? Thank you. Juror number 3? Thank you. Juror number 4 says no. 5 is definitive. 6 I heard from. 7? Okay. 8? Okay. 9? 10? 11? 12? Okay, that was definitive from each of you, and I really appreciate that that clarity in your answer. And when you're answering no, that means no additional time. Okay. All right, I think that's what I wanted to accomplish at this time. So, counsel, I'm prepared to take the verdict then, and I would then, I'm also willing to poll on the first degree count to ensure that that's their verdict, but I'm prepared to take that at this time. Do you need the conference at all?
No. No.
Okay. All right. So I am going to announce the verdict then that I have. We, the jury, sworn to try the above entitled case, find the defendant, Carlos Reales Dominguez, charged with violation of Section 187, Subdivision A of the California Penal Code, to wit, first-degree murder, David Breaux, and count 1 of the information, not guilty. I'll direct the clerk to record that verdict. Second verdict form I received. We, the jury, sworn to try the above entitled case, find the defendant, Carlos Reales Dominguez, charged with violation of Section 187, Subdivision A of the California Penal Code, to wit, first-degree murder, Karim Abou Najm, in count 2 of the information, not guilty. Okay. And then I indicated a second ago, I do want to poll you just as I did. I want to make sure that's your verdict. Did I read it accurately, Madam Foreperson?
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 1, is that your verdict?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm asked to both counts. Thank you. Juror number 2.
Yes.
Juror number 3.
Yes.
Juror number 4.
Yes.
Juror number 5.
Yes.
Juror number 6.
Yes.
Juror number 7.
Yes.
Thank you. Juror number 8. Juror number 9.
Yes.
Juror number 10. Juror number 11 says yes. Juror number 12.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. And then as to the remaining counts, at this time, the court declares a mistrial. And as I indicated to counsel, then we will set a return on July 24th, 2025 at 1:30 Department 14 for trial setting. Defendant will remain, no bail time is waived. So now, Madam Foreperson, I want to return to ask a question. Now that a mistrial has been declared on second-degree murder, you indicated your split was 10-2. Which way was the 10? Which way was the 2?
Not guilty was the 10.
10 not guilty, 2 guilty on second-degree murder, and therefore you didn't get to involuntary manslaughter because you didn't answer that question. Right, I understand. Okay, so perfect. Thank you for that information. Now, listen, Madam Clerk, we have a simple handout, right? Yeah. It might seem like a piece of paper to you, but the Judicial Council prepared this given the hard work that everyone did. I want to hand out the brochure if we could. Okay. And I want to talk to you just briefly about the jury service, and I appreciate your patience while I do that. You don't have to open the flyer. It's for your benefit later as you reflect at home. Okay. But I do appreciate you taking it. The Judicial Council prepared this for you, and it might be helpful. I'll wait a second while we just pass those out. Thanks. So now we're going to talk about the logistics of completing your jury service today. So in the brochure, it talks about coping techniques after serving on a jury. And I just looked at this recently. I thought these were pretty good. So to any of you, some of you may not find this a stressful experience, and others of you may have found this hugely stressful and understandable. We all react differently. I know one thing for certain. I can tell how hard and diligent everyone was, and I can see the good faith that was there. But here's some ideas to deal with stress. And they go through these here. Talk to family and friends, walk through this. Remember, you were on an admonition, you couldn't talk to anybody, and now you can talk to anybody you want. And you can really go through that and seek some support on that. It goes on to talk about get back and make sure you stay in your normal routine. Get the names of your fellow jurors if you haven't already done that. I'm sure most of you have already done that, to stay connected or to reach out and to be able to talk through things later. That's really helpful. Be under the understanding that you don't have to talk to anybody about this case, okay? But let me reflect on that right now. you are relieved of that admonition, right? So now you can talk to anybody you want. And I'm actually going to encourage you to talk to the lawyers in this case. And I met with the lawyers and I asked the bailiff to keep the jury deliberation room available for any private conversations. But it may be that you don't have time today to talk either, and you may be kind enough and willing enough to give your phone number to the lawyer for a conversation later. Your ability to share your deliberations with the lawyers would be immensely helpful to them, okay? There may also be media people that want to talk to you. Your decision, it is your decision only whether you want to talk to somebody. So if you don't want to talk to anybody, you can just kindly say, no thanks, I'm going to take off, and that's it. If you do want to talk to somebody, if you are willing to do that, then it's at a time and a place and a circumstance that you agree to, okay? And if anyone pressures you or threatens you or anything like that, just contact the bailiff, contact jury services, and let them know. All right, it would be a violation of a court order for anyone to harass a juror or to force conversation with a juror that does not want to talk about this case. Okay, so I want to reiterate that rule so you know. You can talk to anybody you want. You don't have to talk to anybody. I'm encouraging you to talk to lawyers, but it's up to you, and you pick the time, place, and manner. Okay, that's the key. All right, and there are other coping techniques in here that will help you deal with this. I find that the brochure is made in good faith, and I think it's really helpful. So I think that's important. All right. So I do want to say one other thing, one other rule before I extend my appreciation, and that is that I'm ordering that the court record of personal juror identifying information, including the names, addresses, and telephone numbers, are sealed until further order of this court. If in the future the court is asked to decide whether this information will be released, notice will be sent to any juror whose information is involved. You may oppose the release of this information and ask that any hearing on the release be closed to the public. The court will decide whether and under what conditions any information may be disclosed. Okay, so that's it. So the last thing I just want to say is it has been a great honor to work with all 16 of you. And you're going to take your badges off, believe it or not. I'm going to use those in a future trial. You're going to leave your notes. You're not allowed to take your notes with you. The notes will be collected and destroyed. So obviously gather your personal belongings, of course, but we are going to keep all the notes, including the alternates and all that you did in the jury deliberation room. And so it's really important that a judge not comment on the substance of a jury verdict, neutral at all times. And so I'm not going to comment on the merits of a verdict or not. But what I will comment on is your commitment to justice. What a pleasure it's been to be with you over a long trial. This jury was focused the whole time. There were rampant note takers amongst you. There was a laser focus with your eyes and ears. I'm watching you at all times, and I was just absolutely amazed. The notes and questions that we got during deliberations were all smart, very clear, and we hope we helped you in our responses. Okay, and remember that schedule and the timing and everyone being here focused and clear-minded. It was really remarkable, and you should all be very proud of your service. I'm proud of you. So with that, I want to say goodbye and thank you, and I hope you'll stick around and talk to the lawyers in the hallway, and we can give you some privacy as well. So enjoy your goodbyes to each other, and I'll see you next year for jury service. Thank you. Have a great day, folks. Counsel, thank you.
Thank you.
We're off the record.
All right, some interesting stuff. All right, I've got a before I play my recap or go through my recap. Let's see what the news is saying. Here, let's check this out. I know there's a lot that just happened. So let me play this, and then we can go through my recap, because this might help us understand it a little bit better. Let's see. All right, hold on a sec. All right. Hold on, just bear with me. Okay.
The Carlos Dominguez stabbing trial, where the verdict has come down. We want to take you out to where this verdict is coming in. Again, this is from Yolo County out in Woodland. So again, Carlos Dominguez is being accused of carrying out the deadly stabbing spree back in 2023, where 2 men were killed. 1 woman was severely injured. Okay, so this is what we're getting into the newsroom. We are seeing that the second-degree murder charge, they were unable to reach a verdict. Bianca.
Yeah, so it looks like they are hung at the moment. Now, they have decided when it comes to first-degree murder that they are going to decide not guilty when it comes to that charge there. So they have been deliberating for weeks now. This is something that's been going back and forth. The defense has argued that his mental capabilities have been a big point in this case. And our reporter Juliet has been there at the Yolo County Court just tracking this entire case. And I believe she's out there with
Juliet, can you hear us? Can you give us details about what happened in court today?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you. I'm just going to walk you guys through what happened this morning. It has been quite a morning. So this morning at 9 a.m., the judge met with both counsels, and they basically said that the judge had received a letter that the jury was in a deadlock. So as it turns out, they all unanimously agreed that Dominguez should be acquitted of first-degree murder, but they were split 10-2 in terms of second-degree murder, and they weren't able to come to a conclusion, or they weren't able to move forward in terms of the manslaughter charges, which is what the defense was originally asking for. So we're seeing some confusion here. So in order to have proven first-degree murder, they would have had to prove that it was premeditated and done with malice. So the whole thing was they, of course, had to consider the defendant's schizophrenia diagnosis, and 3 doctors did confirm that they fully believe that this was basically a textbook case of schizophrenia. So considering that, it seems as though the jury was not able to come to a conclusion if he was, able to move forward with malice and premeditation in terms of the second-degree murder. So a lot going on right now, and surprisingly, the room was pretty silent when that verdict came in. I was looking over at Karim Abou Najm, one of the victims, his parents, and it was very stoic and silent. I also saw the sister of one of the second victims, David Breaux. Not much going on there, but a lot of people didn't seem surprised. The jury did seem like they were kind of on edge with each other, so I'm excited to see how this plays out. They did set a tentative date for a potential retrial at the end of next month, so of course we're going to continue to keep you updated, but a lot happening this morning. I am going to go inside and try and talk with some of the jurors, because they are able to speak with us now, because they will not be the jurors on the retrial, I should say. So I am going to go inside and try and speak with the jurors, as well as anybody who has been involved in the case, the family of the victims and such. So I am going to send it back to you in studio right now.
Yeah, thank you, Julia.
Wow. Julia,
those deliberations, they spanned across 3 weeks, 9 days total. The jury, they wanted to hear back certain testimony from witnesses.
At one point, Carlos Dominguez took the stand himself, and he admitted, he even named the victims himself and said carried out the stabbing spree. So again, they will return with a new jury July 24th for a trial setting in the Carlos Dominguez case. Again, they were unable to reach a verdict on second-degree murder, and they acquitted him on the first-degree murder charges. And we'll have more in our evening newscast. Let's get over to Studio 40 Live again.
All right. So I have a few things I can read here. Well, let's go through. I'll go through my notes. This is what I took. So jury has to decide. First degree was they believe that the deletions were premeditated and with malice. So that was first degree. Second degree believes. Would mean that they believe that they were planned. Oh, I'm sorry. That means the jury doesn't believe they were planned, but still intentional. And then manslaughter was there was no intent or malice. Okay, so to start off, the judge got a note from the jury that he wants to voir dire the foreperson, ask if they've exhausted all efforts. He has a verdict on first degree, and he says they've worked about 9 days over about 3 weeks. So they were talking about CalCrim 3351. Judge Dyer already went through that. That's what I read to you guys earlier. So let's see. So if he does declare a mistrial, then he wants the jury to talk to the lawyers. But the defense was asking, well, let's have him stay in the jury room versus being attacked in the hallway. So jury comes back in, and they've reached a unanimous verdict on first degree, and they can't agree on the others. So they worked for 9 days across 3 weeks. They had readbacks from all 3 doctors and Carlos and at least one other witness. Plus, they had a few notes that came back and forth. Judge Dyer talked to them about 640 and 220 CalCrim. Remember, it was 600. Like so many weeks ago, they had a question about CalCrim 600. So they were unable to reach a verdict on the second degree, and numerically the split was 10-2. So ultimately they voted not guilty on first degree of Karim, not guilty on first degree of David Breaux, which meant that they didn't think it was with intention and malice. So they didn't think that he did this with intention and malice. And then they second degree, which was they don't believe it was planned. That would mean the jury doesn't believe they were planned, but still intentional. That's where they got hung up. So they got hung up on the second degree, which is they didn't believe it was planned, but it was still intentional. So they got hung up, not guilty for 10, guilty for 2. And then they didn't get to involuntary manslaughter. So, all right, so now I'm going to I'll read some notes here. Let's see. Judge declared a mistrial. Let's see. So they were deadlocked 10-2, believing Dominguez was not guilty on second degree. Today was stab number 53 to Karim, said his mom. So mom spoke. I was trying to find it on YouTube. I couldn't find it. What more can a killer do to be found guilty? And then David Breaux' sister, Maria Breaux, spoke to the court. Spoke after the court ended for the day because much of the trial circled around Dominguez's mental illness. Maria said she felt emotional at times because her mother had schizophrenia. Now it's up to the prosecution if they want a retrial. Attorneys will return to court at 1:30 on July 24th for a trial setting. Now, for the time being, Dominguez remains in custody, no bail. So there we have it. All right, so that's that. What do you guys think? Denny Dawn, but second degree, I don't understand why they didn't convict. Because they didn't think it was planned. The jury doesn't believe they were planned, but they still thought they were intentional. So that means they didn't think it was planned, but they still thought it was intentional. That's where they had the split. Two of them said they did believe it was planned and it was intentional, and 10 of them thought, no, it's not planned, but it was still intentional. So Northwest, jury had to be confused. Pammy says very confused by this outcome. Let's see. Yeah, there's three different doctors confirmed. Actually, 4 state of confusion. There were 3 that were okay. He had 2 social workers, 3 doctors that were came in from the court. They were court appointed, and then 1 that was that was brought in by the defense. So that's 4 or 5. That's 6 people. 6 professionals saw him. They talked about him faking it, malingering, and they said it's, that's where it's like, do you believe these experts? And the state didn't call a single expert. That's, I think, what hung up this jury, in my opinion. If the state had called a couple experts, then that would have been, they could have decided, they could have been like, okay, well, this expert, then it becomes a battle of the experts. The state didn't call a single expert. And if you remember, Judge McAdam kind of admonished the state. They're like, hey, you guys didn't call a single expert. What am I supposed to do? And 3 of them were court appointed. 3 of them were court appointed. Let me see. Let me just review my notes because it has been a while. There was a psychiatrist. There was a psychologist. She was court appointed. All right, so there were 2 psychiatrists, 1 psychologist that were court appointed, and then this one psychiatrist was brought in by the defense. So I think that was, and then there were 2 social workers, and everybody, every person, 6 people, 4 psychiatrists, psychologists, and then the 2 social workers. So 6 people, 6 experts, if you will, said that he was in a state of psychosis. He still remains in a state of psychosis or schizophrenia. He has drugs that are, meds that are, he's dealing with. It's helping him deal with it. So you have 6 experts that were weighing on one side, and you had no experts that were weighing on the other side. So I think that was big. I think that was big. Let's see. Yep, state of confusion. It's impossible that he was faking it. If you don't believe the experts, then he was faking it. If you believe the experts, I mean, that's the thing. What do you do? You have to, right? You have to, let me come over here. You have to, do you believe these experts or not? I mean, that's what it boils down to, right? And that's what I was saying. I'm like, it's going to be a battle of the experts. And then when I found out that there were no experts being called on the state side, I was like, In body nature, I'm relieved that first degree is over and done with. I hope next steps include mental health help for Carlos under whatever charge conditions may follow. Brilliant job to Mr. Hutchinson and the judge especially. Martin says, please explain why manslaughter comes off the table. Maybe I have tunnel vision. Because they couldn't agree on the second degree. If they could agree on the second degree, like if they said not guilty on the second degree, then they could go to the manslaughter. So that was like the third tier. There was 3 tiers. First degree was the highest. Second degree was the second highest. And then manslaughter was the third. So they were all in agreement on first degree. If they had all been in agreement on second degree, say he was not guilty on second degree, then they could have gone to manslaughter, and then they could have been like, he's either not guilty or he's guilty. So, yeah, his attorney, Mr. Hutchinson, asked for involuntary. That's what he asked for. Let's see. Your acting only works on an audience. Okay, think about it. Imagine if he did that to someone I loved. Would I care? No, I wouldn't. I'd throw the book at him. Tina, what about the third victim? Yeah, that was Guillory, Kimberlee. What was her? Hold on, what was her? It was probably just, well, not just. It was assault, I'm sure. Attempted deletion willfully and unlawfully with malice and forethought. So for Kimberlee, it was attempted deletion, attempted M, willfully and unlawfully. So it was attempted versus actually committing it. That was the difference. All right, Hellcat, have a great one. Have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us. All right, say Denny Dawn says, I'm sorry he has that, but I still feel the same. Sorry, I'm just for the other victim who wanted justice. Well, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The jury has spoke, right? Not everybody the same, Fowler says. Not all illnesses are the same. State of confusion. So he's going through the trial again, and then they will decide where he should go. I guess they're going to decide on July 24th if they're even going to have a trial, I guess. It's up to the defense right now. I'm sorry. It's up to the prosecution. It's up to the state. It's up to the state to decide. Angela says, I do not think he was faking. He sat there like a statue the entire trial. Something is off with him. Of course, yeah. Pammy, thank you. Hope you have a relaxing, healing weekend. Thank you, Pammy. I appreciate that. Curviel, so I wonder if what they wanted readback would have swayed the last 2. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Well, they had been at it for 2 weeks. They were at that split for 2 weeks. Birdie says, your aunt had schizophrenia. She poured petrol all over her head and lit it. Ouch. Sorry, Birdie. Ouch. Denny Dawn says, if he walks free, he's not walking free. But if he walks free, he's afraid there'll be more victims if he's that sick because he might go off his meds. He's not walking free, I don't think. I don't think he's walking free. I don't see a scenario where he's walking free. I just don't see it. You never say never. I never say never, but I don't think he's walking free. Lucy H., the verdict was not guilty on second degree for David and Karim, not guilty for those two, and they were split on Kimberlee, which was the second degree, and that was they got hung. They hung 10-2. They were hung 10-2. Joanne Jedi Platypus says, hopefully the state and his attorney can come to an agreement on a deal that includes institutional mental health. Absolutely. I think that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants him to just be in an institution. That's to me, that's what everybody wants. Fur babies, hope you feel better. Thank you. Everyone have a great weekend. Paula says, can't accept what a jury says when you agree and then condemn them when you don't agree. That is true. Denny Dawn says, like I said, I'm okay if he goes to a mental health facility. He needs to go to a mental health facility. That's just the bottom line. He just needs to go. He needs to go to a mental health. Joe Schmo, Joe, you're having you're doing a live tomorrow, right? Guys, go check out Joe Schmo. Hold on. Joe, are you doing your live tomorrow? Joe, tomorrow afternoon. Joe, are you doing a live tomorrow? Joe's going to do a live stream tomorrow, you guys. Yeah, go check out Joe Schmo. He's doing a live stream tomorrow about this Oklahoma case, this case in Oklahoma. So definitely go check out Joe Schmo tomorrow about this young, is it a female? Let me just read this. Possible OD deep dive, law enforcement corruption regarding that. You went through Oklahoma on US 54. Funeral is tomorrow. All right, guys, definitely go check out Joe Schmo's stream. We'll be there. Joe, we'll definitely be checking that out. So, all right. Angela says, I love that the jurors stood by what they believed and didn't get persuaded to change. Good night, Alice. Thank you for, I'm going to try. I'm going to try and make myself feel better. Thank you. Lucy, yep. Thank you for the update. Pammy, goodbye. Be good. What is the justice for the injured victim? I don't know. I guess it's not out there right now. It is what it is, you know. I remember that. Yeah, that was here in Florida, I think, Denny Dawn. That guy, yeah, he was rich. I remember he had some good counsel. He was on bath salts or something. He attacked a couple and they were hanging out in their garage. He attacked them. They sent him to a mental institution. Yeah, I wasn't happy with that. Okay, Father, have a good one. Joe, yes, we're covering London Valdez tomorrow at 1:30 Eastern. All right, definitely go check that out, guys. Joe Schmo tomorrow, London Valdez, 1:30. State of confusion, yeah, bath salt's not a drug. That is true. It's a drug. I'm sorry, it's not mental illness. That's true. Let's see. All right. I am going to call it a night, you guys, because I am not feeling well. So, thank you, guys. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to Erin for all she's putting together all this wonderful stuff on the back end, putting these streams together for us. Thank you to our mod squad. Thank you to our chat. Thank you to all our new subscribers. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for helping lift our channel. Thank you for being kind, courteous, respectful to each other. We may have differences of opinions, which is fine. We encourage that. Just don't snipe at each other because that really doesn't do any good, as you know. So you can have your opinions, but no need to hit us over the heads with it and or snipe at each other. It's just not worth it. So anyway, have a great weekend, you guys. Joanne, yep, I'm going to try and get better. I'll see you guys at Joe Schmo tomorrow at 1:30. Go check out Joe Schmo. If you haven't subscribed to him, definitely do so. He produces great content. And we will see you guys on Monday for our continuing coverage of Connecticut versus Raul Valle. So until then, have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you. Oh, we'll have Kitty Cam. We'll have Kitty Cam over the weekend. So check that out, and if not, we'll see you on Monday. Have a good one, guys. Bye.